Through a snowy field in the Wild West, Cutthroat Bill rides her bike and spots Lula nearby. Bill reaches a church where a funeral is underway. Everyone steps back, aware of her danger, letting her take a jacket from the coffin. Meanwhile, Lula returns home, where her brother Jack tells her their parents have died of smallpox. Mourning, she gazes at their bodies. Soon, their grandfather Caleb arrives, and together they pray a final goodbye. They burn the house to stop the disease and leave for their aunt's home in Texas. In an abandoned town, Bill reunites with her gang. At a river crossing, they learn Caleb's family paid for the ferry first. Bill asks Caleb to pay for her too and makes a pass at Lula. Defending Lula, Caleb draws his gun, prompting the gang to do the same. Suddenly, the ferry rope snaps, and the sound startles Caleb into firing. His bullet grazes Bill, who shoots him twice, killing him. The gang then knocks Jack out and kidnaps Lula. Later, in Sylvester Town, the gang raids a store for supplies. The frightened owner obeys their orders, even when Bill mocks him by feeding him candy from her hand. Outside, Lula wakes on the horse and tells the owner's son to run. The gang hears her, turns back, and the owner opens fire, injuring a gangster's hand. Bill instantly shoots him dead. As Lula flees, she slips in the mud, and when the boy tries to help, he's shot too. Bill recaptures Lula. Elsewhere, Jack wakes by the river to find Lula and the cart gone. Praying for his grandfather, he breaks down in grief. Determined to find his sister, he reaches Sylvester, where locals have caught a stranger they mistake for Bill and plan to hang. Believing the man might know something, Jack tries questioning him but can't get through the furious crowd and collapses. Looking up, Jack sees Jimmy Sue being kidnapped and forced into a carriage by Hector, but amid the chaos, no one hears her cries. In the town square, the captured man is hanged. Jack rushes to speak to him before he dies, but a furious local knocks him out to stop him. In the woods, the gang halts to rest the horses. Lula insists her brother will save her, but Bill claims Jack is dead. While tending to his man's hand, Bill lets his guard down, and Lula steals a gun from a horse. Too scared to shoot, she loses it, and Bill fires near her head as punishment. At dawn, Jack wakes beside the hanged man's body. Gravedigger Eustace nearly buries him alive before Jack revives. Eustace mentions the gang was seen heading north. Jack wants to rent his car, but it belongs to Eustace's partner, Jones. At the tavern, Jones demands full payment for a grave job, but the alderman offers half and mocks his height. When threatened, Jones swiftly beats the larger man, cuts his arm, and points a gun at his head, seizing the money. The alderman's men pursue him, but Jones frees their horses to slow them. As shots ring out, Eustace picks him up, Jack hidden in back. Outside town, Jack tells Jones about Lula and her bounty. Using a scoped gun, Jones shoots one pursuer from afar, scaring the rest off. Jones refuses to help, driving off with Eustace, so Jack steals a horse to follow. Meanwhile, Bill forces Lula to burn her fine dress and wear a man's shirt to blend in. That night, Jones tries robbing sleeping Jack, but Eustace stops him, noting the bounty makes the job tempting. When Jack awakens, Jones agrees to help, on the condition Jack works for him. Morning comes, and the alderman hires Simon and Malachi, the DC brothers, to kill Jones. After a long ride, Jones's group stops to rest. Jack shares quotes he thinks are biblical, but Jones corrects him, they're from Hamlet. The next day, Lula asks to stop and goes into the woods, accidentally cutting her hand and leaving blood behind. That night, while Lula tries to sleep, a man attempts to assault her as others hold her down. She grabs a bottle, smashes it on his head, and screams. Bill wakes up. Jack seizes a fire poker and smashes Hector unconscious. Jimmy spits on him before running off with Jack. Reuniting with Jones and Eustace, Jimmy shares the gang's location. In the woods, Lula questions her captors, who reveal they're heading to the thicket, a remote hideout. One brags Bill has kidnapped girls before. Those who tried escaping were cut up. That night, Jones's group captures one of Bill's men to interrogate him. They beat him and pierce his hands with nails, but he won't speak. When Jones realizes Bill's bounty is too small, he refuses the job, leaving with Eustace. Jimmy and Jack offer to help the wounded man if he talks. He reveals the thicket's location, but dies before giving more. Meanwhile, Lula escapes while her guards sleep and runs into the DC brothers. They promise protection and take her to camp, explaining their goal to hunt a dwarf. Suddenly, horses approach. Lula hides as Bill rides in, pushes Simon into the fire, and chases down Lula again. Returning, he shoots Simon through his badge. Malachi holds his dying brother in grief. The next morning, Jack and Jimmy find Jones and Eustace, offering Caleb's land as payment. Jones accepts and gives Jack a gun. After riding off, they discover the gang resting in a town. Inside an inn, Jones buys whiskey and finds Bill there. They trade insults about height and scars, earning mutual respect. Bill even shares candy before leaving. Outside, Lula overhears Bill's men mentioning he's talking to a dwarf. Through a wall hole, Jones mentions Jack's name loudly, letting Lula know her brother's searching for her. Eustace and the teens prepare to ambush, but Jones hesitates. Lula is in the line of fire. Suddenly, Malachi ambushes Jimmy and takes her hostage. Using calm words, Jones gets him talking. Malachi tells them about his brother's death, and when he learns they're after Bill, he agrees to join them for revenge. Bill finds a church and bursts in to attack the priest. That evening, Jones's group rests in a nearby town, where Jack and Jimmy bond and share a kiss. The next day, they discover Bill burned down the church. The priest, horribly scarred but alive, tells them how to reach the thicket and warns Lula won't survive spring. He also reveals Bill's scars came from her abusive mother, who saw her as punishment for her sins. As a child, Bill locked her mother inside their house and burned it down. Jack urges the group to move, but Jones reminds him he's the leader. Frustrated by being treated like a kid, Jack insults him. So Jones taunts him by offering Jimmy money for sex. Jack attacks, but Jones easily overpowers him and threatens to shoot. Jimmy intervenes, saying they're all scared and need to stop fighting. She points out Jones helps Lula out of guilt, not greed. Eustace agrees, and Jones finally lowers his gun and apologizes. In the woods, Lula asks if Bill will kill her. Bill says she doesn't know and oddly rests her head on Lula's lap. Meanwhile, Jones's team loses the gang's trail under the snow but keeps going into the thicket. At night, Jones and Jack reconcile. Jones confesses his mother took her life and his father sold him to a circus, so he reminds Jack that Lula will always remember him. The next day, the group finds the gang hiding in a forest shack. They wait to strike, but Malachi, desperate for revenge, sneaks off and attacks a man, only to be stabbed to death. Jack wants to help, but Jones stops him. Jimmy, ignoring orders, opens fire and kills the gangster. Eustace insists they attack first, so the men charge ahead, leaving Jimmy behind. The wounded gangster crawls to the shack as a firefight erupts. Lula hides while Bill stays detached. As the team pushes forward, Jones flanks the house. Seeing him, Lula escapes out back, prompting Bill to drag her into the foggy woods. Eustace and Jack drive the gang away, but Jack runs after Lula despite warnings. A gangster finds Jimmy, and though she lands a shot, he stabs her. They die together. Jones discovers Eustace is fatally wounded and sets up a rifle scope. A gangster ambushes him, and they wrestle violently in the snow. Nearby, Jack follows Bill's laughter and hides behind a tree after hearing a shot. Bill taunts him, then shoots both his shoulders. As Lula runs to him, Bill tries to finish the job but runs out of bullets. Lula jumps her and punches her repeatedly. Dizzy, Bill hesitates long enough for Jones to shoot her in the head. Bill whispers "Mama" before dying. Jack dies in Lula's arms, sending her into despair. Jones finds Eustace, who's grateful Bill is dead, before dying peacefully. Afterward, Lula decapitates Bill, and Jones helps her deliver the head to the sheriff. Though the bounty is real, Jones asks to remain anonymous. Later, with fresh clothes and transport, Lula invites him to stay with her since she's alone. In Caleb's land, they live together, having buried Jack in their yard. Lula proudly keeps the scar on her neck from Bill's knife.